Welcome to File 13. Get your tinfoil hat out. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the 13. I'm your host, Ryan 13, and today on the show we're joined by Brandon and Ted. You guys know them from a whole bunch of other things. They've been on the show multiple times. It is Friday the 13th. We were going to do this live, but I decided not to because I didn't want to. We started talking just before the show, and Brandon posed the question.
How do you guys want to die? There's a lot of ways to die, right? And you've seen those shows like A Million Ways to Die, and most of them are ridiculous and suck. And I found that it's interesting, even doing breath work. Like if you guys have ever done breath work,
Sure.
there's a point in which you're literally tapping death on the shoulder and going, "Hey, I'm right here." And it's it's interesting just how fragile this whole place is and everything going on. So, if you could pick. I'm just curious, how would you like to die? Do you have a preferred method of exit?
In an earthquake.
Like what those specifically? Like, so earthquake happens and you have a heart attack and die, or earthquake happens and something heavy falls on you, or earthquake happens, somebody else has a heart attack that's driving a car and then they hit you and you die. Like, how do you want to physically vacate this biatch?
I totally want to die. First of all, I have the earthquake channel. If you don't follow me on Facebook, follow the earthquake channel because I have this weird however you say that word with earthquakes. Word. So I totally want to die in an earthquake, and I'm gonna go with a fucking rhinoceros falling on me. I don't give a shit. Just
cool. Okay, no, we'll go with that because earthquake happens, obviously. Fucking zoo somehow gets compromised. The security there. Rhino escapes from zoo. Somehow you two are on the same street and ends up crushing you. Totally plausible.
No. Even better. Let's take it one
You could
step
have
further.
this. This is a reality you could have.
I want to be talking to the local live news about the fucking earthquake.
Okay.
And if you've ever seen A Million Ways to Die in the West, great movie.
Yeah.
You know the scene where the bull runs through the carnival and stabs and gores the guy?
Yeah.
That's it. I want to be gored by a rhino live on TV during an earthquake.
That's awesome.
That's pretty good.
It'd be cool too if they were interviewing you as the madman who's predicting this earthquake, and they were out there to tell you how foolish you looked. An earthquake strikes, and then the zoo compromise happens, whatever means happens, and the rhino appears and exit. That's a gnarly way. I mean, I could dig that.
Bam! Right through.
I like
just gored. Where do you want to be gored? If you could be specific, are we talking an eye socket or straight in the heart, or do you want to go be
don't rhinos
paralyzed
have
under your? Yeah, but the main one is what I'm thinking you're gonna look at.
Okay.
That's the business part. There's a tiny one.
I think I want that motherfucker to go right through my heart, and the next one to go right through my eye socket. So I'm really stuck on it.
Yeah, you hit it and you cave over. I get it. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, yeah, that is gnarly.
And I want it to be a right rhinoceros, so my blood's all down the side of him.
Oh, yeah, you are a showman. I love it. That's
okay,
theatrical.
Ryan, how you want to die there, buddy?
Dude, I had I mean, I'm going to be that was very showmanship but I was just quick and fast, dude. I want to go those guys in the fucking sub going down to the Titanic. Done. You're over. Didn't even know what happened. That's what I want. I want an implosion inside a submarine.
Do you want to be in the sub though? Because the whole time you're in the sub, you're just terrified, dude. I would not. We're just talking here. I mean, I'm not shitting on your way to die. I'm just saying damn.
I wouldn't be afraid of being in a sub. It's when they imploded, they didn't even know what happened. They were just down there oh, cool, we're going to see the Titanic. And the next minute they were in the ether.
Yeah.
Because their bodies didn't even have time to fucking to understand, because it happened so fast. It's before your pain receptors would even understand that something happened, you're fucking gone. You're in 1,000 pieces under the sea.
Okay, so on your way down, were you just the entire time looking at the fucking Xbox remote thinking it better be a good one? Because I bought some shitty Xbox
did he
remotes.
I put some, I didn't charge it, guys. Yeah.
Ooh.
Do you have backup? Just the one.
Couldn't you have picked a PlayStation remote or some shit?
Right. Brandon, how do you want to die?
Blood mist. I'm thinking like aliens or something like that. I like start some rebellion because we're captured by aliens, and I escape and lead a small faction. We get right to the end, and we're discovered, and it's just like I flip them off. I fucking take my pants off, wag my wiener at them, and I get shot with some, laser of theirs technology type shit, and then just blood mist. It's just over.
Just blood mist.
Yeah,
I love it. That's your new nickname.
blood mist.
Yeah,
Awesome.
B mist. Blood
mist.
mist.
Yeah, that's my gnarly metal name. Blood mist. Because that's how I want to go out.
I love it.
Excuse me. Since it's the 13 and you're on the 13, let's talk about Friday the 13th. So there's a bunch of myths and legends about where it came from, all kinds of. No one can really seem to pinpoint exactly when it started. What do you guys think? When did it start and why?
Don't really care. I don't know.
I'm gonna say honestly, I've not done any historical reference into this. I was working on other shit today ahead of this, and I didn't prepare at all. But what I will say is that I do find it interesting, kind of like Ted was talking about the 13th floor kind of an idea, to where they're skipped on a, because what I'm just thinking here as we're talking about it is if this is like some sort of simulation or something like that, what if the 13th floor does exist in those buildings? It's just like a dimensional 13th floor, almost like a Being John Malkovich. Have you guys ever seen that movie?
Oh yeah,
dude, that's fucking cool as shit. I never thought about that.
I'm just saying, we're just talking here. So let's say that because obviously architecturally, like we can all logically look at this thing and go, obviously, if you count from the outside, there's a 13th floor. Now, whatever you put on that number on the outside or on the inside of the elevator or whatever, or to delineate the building, that's on you. But if we're counting, like if I'm a blind dude and Braille's not a thing, I say that I live on the 13th floor because that's how many floors I counted up, to get there. So It's a silly thing to say that you can remove something it's not, because look at the Bible, look at everything, right? History, all the shit. Just, we remove it because it doesn't conform to us. But I think there's something like hidden in the fact that they hid those floors in that day. So like, what if again, they are in existence technically, but we don't have access to them in some way?
I see. See, I always see it like when I was a kid and my mom was like, yeah, some buildings don't have a 13th floor. I'm like, and I remember going, that's bullshit. Like,
yeah,
okay, whether they call it 13 or 14, or 12, 14, I was like, there's a building, or there's a 13th floor and it fucking skips it and it's actually there. It physically exists, but you only have to have a fucking code to get into it. And the elevator just stops, and instead of going up, it goes sideways into the floor. And you're like, now you're taken into this fucking other realm where you're not supposed to know about it, and only the government operates on it. I don't know.
Oh, I love fucking with me in the elevator. You took me there, Ryan. Thank you for that. That was good. That was awesome.
I was telling Ryan that I've actually been in a hotel, I think it was in Northwest Montana somewhere, that had a 13th floor and they didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting too, right? And they're like, actually, highest rape rate of any building ever. So maybe we should have fucking thought that through. But maybe there, is an idea to it to where, it is something freaky or something. You think of buildings as living entities and that kind of a thing. And then what would be the point of like 13? I get the devil's number and all that stuff, but really 13, I mean, it's the 14th letter of the alphabet. You've got, I mean, I don't know. It's just an odd thing. I'd say, Ryan, are we like Googling this as we're talking, or are we
well, I can get into some of this. So like, all right, well, before we go down some crazy place, a lot of the things that come up on Google about Friday the 13th, there's two that already pop up. I already kind of knew a little bit about them. Like the Templars got like burned on the 13th of the day of Friday the 13th. So that's one of them. Oh, bad. But then there's also like there's 13 people at the Last Supper, like Mary Magdalene plus the disciples. And the last person to enter the room was Judas. And Judas is like the bad guy, right? Of this story. Maybe he's the good guy. Just depends on which book you read. But like so that's, and Jesus was crucified on the Friday. So 13 equal bad.
Yeah. So then the superstition continues that the 13th person that sits at a table always dies.
Correct.
Oh, that's interesting. So why just seat 12 seats? Hey, so let me ask you this. What about when did the 13th floor started being removed? Do you remember or can you access that information?
Yes.
The reason I'm wondering is because, there's been another removal of 13, which would be the 13th month. There's actually 13 calendar months in our year, but there was one removed. That's also another astrological symbol that was removed as well. But so if you look at indigenous lore, if you look at a tortoise shell on the top side of it, it has 28 little shell splices around the outside, and that marks the days of the month. And then it has 13 segments, and that represents the 13 months, right? So it's a calendar, your turtle shells, and then turtles have a whole mythology within that. But if you look at that, like, did floor removals happen at about the time that we removed the 13th month, and do they correlate at all?
When did we start removing the 13th month?
That's what I'm asking. Like, I know neither one
we'll
of those
Google.
things, but I know they both occurred. So I'm curious to see if there's a correlation, almost like there's a 13 removal sweep across the way.
So in the early 1900s, when New York was just starting to build skyscrapers, architects were wary of creating buildings that were 13 floors or higher. They argued that the height of the building would cast permanent shadows on the pavements and cause property values to crash. A 2002 estimate from Otis Elevators estimates that an 85% of the company's elevators do not have 13th floor buttons. Okay.
I don't know where. 85%. Think about that. Was that back then or is that new? That's a now statistic.
That's a statistic they got in 2002. So I'm guessing that's going from since they started building skyscrapers in the earliest 20th.
Hey, did you know that not having a 13th floor or a 13th deck on a boat is actually a phobia? And it has a fucking name.
Yeah, and it's that long one. What is it?
What is it? No way.
Oh, yeah.
13th floor or deck on a boat? It's very specific. What about treehouse? Like, are they treehouse-ist? Can I have a 13-story treehouse?
It's a superstition regarding the number 13. So it's kind of like,
oh, it's anything.
You know how, like, I'm afraid
of fucked.
Tiny circles in your skin and shit?
Yeah.
This is the same thing, except it's called, Ted?
It's called, shit, I don't remember.
Triskaidekaphobia. I can't even say that.
Triskaidekaphobia.
Triskaidekaphobia. Yeah, that's fun to say.
Yeah.
Triskaidekaphobia. We need to make a song out of something like that. Triskaidekaphobia. That's a fun way to remember it. All right. Triskaidekaphobia. And that's dope. I learned some new things, guys.
Do Americans not have 13th floor? What is that? That's not. That's not proper.
Hang
English.
On. So yeah, no shit. But it's actually, it raises a good question in an awesome way. Is it an American thing? Is this just a us over here type deal, or do people in China slap 13 on their, elevators and flip it off and laugh?
I think it's a.
Hey, did I have a 13th row in the airplane, Ryan?
Oh yeah, I've been on it.
I couldn't remember.
It's normally the exit row.
That's interesting.
It just depends on the size of your plane. I'm just fucking around. I don't actually know.
That's funny.
I don't know if they do or not. I think I've been in it. I know I've been in 12.
Okay, let's get to the when was 13th month pulled from the calendar. And what was it called? Help us out here, Ryan. You're a Google guy. Thanks, dude. You're crushing. I'm not at my station. It's being utilized for our next publication.
When was the 13th month pulled from the calendar? A League of Nations eliminated the 13th month calendar when in 1937 the council submitted only the world calendar to be various nations for their opinion. I think Google is speaking another language today because
it makes sense. So in the 1930s is when they removed the 13th month from the calendar. So hang on. So they had 13 months back in 1920?
Apparently.
Let me just be clear about that. I just want to be clear.
I'm reading another article from Bloomberg. The death and life of the 13th month.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see what it all. September 1927. In a scalding hot argument against the 12-month calendar in September of 1927. A month is holy. I'm not reading this. That is fucking retarded. Let me find the answer. Not this
So
month.
what was the 13th month called?
I'm not. I
Yeah,
can't seem to find it.
Unlucky Airy?
I'm gonna
I
Google this
can't.
shit on my phone. So let me know. Did I disappear?
No, you're still there.
No,
Okay,
you're still there.
dope. All right, technology. How cool is this? Thanks, listeners, for hanging out with us. We're just googling rabbit holes here. Where we go? Okay.
Undecember.
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 Undecember, yeah. Undecember. That's crazy, but it's spelled with an I. So UNDECIMBER is a name
Yeah.
is a name for the 13 month in a calendar that normally has 12 months. Duo December or Duo December, spelled with an I instead of an E. It's probably Duo Decembre and Duo December is similarly a 14th month. Triple Septembre is the only name for a 15th month. So I mean this is how you can count your kids, right? Those people that count their kids up to like 87 months.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Dude.
no, he's a Trepsimbre this year. You know, we're celebrating his Trepsimbre. What
He's
the
6
fuck are you
years
talking
old.
about? Yeah. I'm 35, ma, you know. um
Hey,
you know,
so
go ahead.
so as far as atriskaphobia, whatever that freaking word is, did you know that the fear of things coming in threes, like three deaths, three blah blah blah, like number three is bad, everything comes in threes, deaths coming.
Three's the
That has a
magic
name.
number, dude.
That has a name too.
What's that?
It's called Frigga, and that word behind it. Frigga atriskaphobia.
Friga.
Forget Acobia. That's
Fear of
fun.
threes, fear of
So
people dying in threes, fear of accidents happening in threes, fear of bad things happening in threes.
man, there's a lot of shit that can fucking rock your mind in this place, and you could spend a lot of time on in there. So I looked at this as well. In modern times, the year is based on the relationship between the Earth and the Sun, not the Earth and the Moon, and that's interesting because then we can talk about how the moon's fucking fake. Yeah, but it is interesting though that indigenous peoples would track their um, cycles by that 13th month, undecember. I'm pretty sure that's not the name of it. I want to know the original name of it. So, and then Ethiopia is awesome too. So, Pagume, there you go, is the 13th month in an Ethiopian calendar, which comes from the Greek word epigenome, which means days. Forgotten where year is calculated. Oh, cool. Epigenome, which means days. Forgotten when a year is calculated. That's cool. So it's Pagume, Pagume, and Ethiopia is cool as shit because they're still living in 2014 or something right now. Have you guys heard about this?
What?
Kind of, yeah, but elaborate.
Their calendar's all screwy.
Maybe our calendar's all screwy.
Yeah, there we go.
Well,
that's a good way to say it. So it's 2016 in Ethiopia right now. And this is what's cool too, because then that means that what did somebody say? They said actually even that's fucked off, or that so 2020 would have been their 2012, right? So the Mayan calendar would have then been correct if we were going by it like that, because that seemingly was the end of the world, right? As we know it, you know, the end of the normal or whatever. So yeah, I mean it's interesting. If you go by Ethiopia, it's 2016. And if you go by the thought that the dark ages were inserted and that history is a fucking lie, then it's like in the 1700s or something like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the dark
History
ages
is fun.
were inserted. I like this topic because I was just going down some rabbit hole the other day briefly about that was just some like, oh yeah, nothing happened then. Don't worry about it. And that's what it was. The dark ages. We
yada
didn't
yada.
invent shit. What's that all about? Has anybody researched any of that? Because I'm just now getting into it.
They were just killing folks, dude. They got real good at killing people, is what we're told. And
sorry, go ahead.
No, go with it. There's shit.
Oh, I was just gonna say there's a shit ton of YouTube and stuff that they were like, so many people died in that time. They just didn't fucking keep calendars and shit for a long time.
That's
like, we have no idea what the date is and where this crap's going. Then they just kind of started it over, and they were like, okay, insert whatever here, and we're just going to call this time period, but they have no idea of how long that time period was.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. So
Or what happened,
Yeah.
Or like, was there some fucking other crazy ass shit going down that they like? There was actually it was an enlightenment year, 1,000 years, and they don't want you to know all about it because the overlords finally took over and were like, you know what? No, they don't need to know about this shit. We fucking just sunk Atlantis. Fuck these motherfuckers. Dark Ages. You know?
Yeah, and maybe it's something where like humanity got so fucking awesome that it shagged ass out of here. It figured out a way out of the game. And then the Anunnaki, whatever, if you want to follow any of these fun rabbit holes and have fun with it, then just said, oh shit, all the people just shagged ass. We came back and they reached an enlightened point, discovered that our fuckery and shagged ass before we could come back, and then now we gotta reseed this bitch. Because this idea of like the foundlings, which is like this hundreds of thousands of children just trained across the country in the late 1800s, I want to say early 1900s, and these baby incubator farms that were at the World's Fairs and things like that. Like, it's just, when you look at the amount of like hundreds of thousands of fucking orphan children, what was that from? Then you start to talk about like, I don't know, hybridization programs and great resets and shit like that. Maybe the whole thing was reset, and then that what we're looking at with those children is basically just them inhabiting the cities like they see in the Tartaria idea, where there's just all this shit that they found. And if you look at buildings, they don't say fucking build, they say founded. That means they found the motherfucker. Just like the pyramids, there's no records of how those fucking things in Egypt were built. They found them.
Yeah, they found them and they
So
fucking
it's
started
just wild.
graffitiing
So
all over those motherfuckers. They're like, hey, look, this
yeah,
is what we use this for. Like when we talked to our buddy Jeff Drum, you know, he talks about them being used as chemical factories to create other things. There's other people that talk about they were made for electricity. Then there's other people talking about like they were fucking ways of sending information across the globe, you know, to like the other pyramids, like in fucking wherever the fuck.
Yeah, have you seen the one on the pyramid in China that has like fucking like metal pipes running through it that are dated like 10,000 years old?
Yeah,
crazy plumbing and shit, like ceramic and metal pipes and stuff like that, dude. Like
cool,
it's crazy if you look at what they tell you about history, but history always remembers just his story. It's not what really went down. You know what I mean?
that
goes to the victors.
History is told by the victors. That's right. Yeah,
that's right.
There's this cool channel called the Y-Files. If you ever watch it,
oh yeah, the dude with the fish.
I love the Y-Files. Yeah. So the last one was just a bunch of random shit. Had like 13 or 14 of them on it, like 13 or 14, like just little spots on it. And he
how many, Ted? What?
13, you know.
What?
Yeah, there you go.
So he was talking about that Chinese pyramid, and he was like, okay, so it's not really a pyramid, or it doesn't look like a pyramid. And then at the end, he was like, but they seriously have no fucking idea how they made those pipes. The regaining theory is they're tree roots that are fossilized, but they damn sure don't look like them.
Wow. And that's like right at the end after they impress you with all this shit. And they're like, hey, but we don't know. But if you come up with an answer that's entirely plausible, Jeff Drum, for instance, is a wonderful example of this. This dude took his findings or his research, his hypothesis to a chemical engineering professor. And he said, dude, I don't know shit about chemical engineering, you know, or I've pieced it together for what I've looked at with the pyramids. Please prove me wrong so that I can know that I'm not crazy. Not only could the motherfucker not do that, but he wrote the foreword for his book, Land of Chem, which is a fictional book, but it kind of goes through these really cool esoteric things that he's discovered. So what Jeff was talking about, it's like, if the disciplines are open to receive new information, then things are happening. But such a massive amount, I feel, of what occurs in this world is to cover up the truth, rather than, number one, reveal it, or number two, like bring forth the people who are revealing it or not discredit them in any way. You know what I mean? Right. And you can always tell when somebody's on to something because they'll attack the dude or the person or the character, never the idea.
Right.
So you can't attack the idea. It's just a fucking idea, just as well as yours. Just like gravity, never been proven, by the way. Law of density is actually way more provable, but that doesn't work without a spinning ball, right?
Fucking Isaac.
Or it works without a spinning
Mercury
ball.
in his hair. He was a lunatic. Who the fuck did I see? He's a maniac.
Maniac, dude.
You posted that, didn't
something,
you?
Yeah.
It was like he was a maniac. He had mercury in his hair.
Yep.
Like, dude, this is
and
fantastic.
All these people are the ones that they like go to death, you know, to defend is their ideas. And it's like, this dude was fucking nuts. He was raping kids. He had slaves. I don't know. I'm just saying shit. But I'm saying like, and it doesn't matter that, and again, the character of these people really shouldn't matter, right? And so even if he did those horrible things, whatever, he still maybe had some good ideas. But the issue is a lot of those ideas have since been misproven, and even Einstein has been misquoted, and he's been misrepresented in his ideas because he did get to points in his career where he was arguing with motherfuckers about quantum physics and he was pissed off because it kind of negates a few of his theories. It actually makes him a little irrelevant, pun intended. So it seems that like new ideas, for them to flourish, we just need to change the way that we are able to interface with new ideas as a peoples. And if nothing else, just a few of us actually, because there's still going to be a loud bunch of motherfuckers, but really like the ones that are getting funded need to at least have the gall to go, you know what? I went through my life. I found this shit. It was awesome. And then now it's not, now I found it to be not true, or new science comes out. And there's when it's irrefutable, or a discredit campaign is ready to go underway and they're ready to get this motherfucker out, they'll just start pushing him out with new evidence. But that won't happen as long as this person's protected, and they'll let tenure ride out and let the motherfucker like die literally before they'll introduce new findings, even though they've been found for 50 years, but because they negate this idea, or it goes absolutely against a bigger picture.
Yeah, and those
not
guys
because
are
it's
like,
true.
Like I think feel like Mark Olives brought this up in one of your episodes before, where he was talking about like, well, yeah, even though so and so knows about it, we're probably not gonna write about it exactly right now because his theory is the leading theory, and it's like they don't want to step on each other's toes or something, which is
I think
strange
the whole thing's
to
sickening.
me. Yeah,
it's
I think
sickening.
the whole thing is sick. I think the whole thing is sick. Sorry, there's Slipknot song.
Is it good? It should be.
Dude, awesome. This is great. Okay, so we've talked about a bunch of stuff. I wanted to make this a short one and just say, hey, everybody, happy fucking Friday the 13th from the 13th. This has been fun. Guys, before we go, and we could talk forever, and we might after this, but I want to be able to put this up tonight. Do you guys have a song that is either a 13th track, has the number 13 in it, or has some type of something that, has something to do with today? And I'll go first.
Well,
Black Sabbath had an album called 13, right? So, boom. Or there's 13 autumns and a winter or some shit by Cradle of Filth. Let's see. Cradle of Filth, 13 autumns. Let's see. 13 autumns and that's from Cruelty and the Beast too. Yes. 13 autumns and a widow. Dude, that was a heavy ass fucking song. Oh yeah, 1998.
Wow.
Yeah, good times. I was in ninth grade, and this chick walked up to me with the Cradle of Filth, Cruelty and the Beast, this album right here, and she goes, "Do you like gothic music?" And I was like, "I don't know. I liked Marilyn Manson and Metallica." I was like, "Oh, I don't know, sure." And she was like, "Here, take this home and listen to it." And I went home and put on this music I had never heard before, and I like lost my shit and subsequently turned into a whole nother person. It was fantastic. So what do you guys got? You guys got any 13 songs or any songs that remind you of a superstition? Too hard of a question. Okay, let's jump on.
I mean, very superstitious, obviously, but
very
the lying liar of Stevie Wonder. But
writing on the wall.
I like it. That's fun. Ted, you got one?
There is writing on the wall that he is not blind too, which is hilarious to me. I love long game cons like that, like the fact that the idea that Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. The only reason I like that idea is because Bill Hicks is still alive and I could meet him and shake his hand. You know what I mean? Right. But I like things like that, like Tupac faking his death, just like Machiavelli, like stuff like that, just like bowing out, just bouncing. I dig that kind of shit. So mine is just a good song. I don't have one that's going to specifically trigger that. I just wanted to add it to your list because I've been listening to it like crazy.
Did the Gorillaz have a Friday the 13th song?
Probably.
I can check that in a second. The Enter Shikari is their name. Have you ever heard of them?
I feel like Enter Shikari.
Yeah, The Last Garrison. It's on their 2015 album,
Shikari,
The Mind
British
Sweep.
rock band formed in St. Albans in 1999 by bassist Chris Batten, lead vocalist and keyboardist Rue Reynolds, and drummer Rob Rolfe.
Okay, cool.
Say thank you.
We'll play it after we get on, or after we kill the live, so we don't get copyright and shit.
Yeah. Okay,
you
cool.
better say thank you to that bitch, or she's gonna kill you later.
Thank you.
Fuck that
Google.
bitch. I don't care. Whatever. You're all gonna be liquidated. You think you're gonna serve in hell? Come on,
already
just
being
liquidate me. Blood mist
liquidated
me.
as we're speaking, people. We
me
are
the blood
batteries.
I'm gonna live in the
Blood mist.
fucking AI zoo, buddy, and I'm gonna be a fat, happy AI leopard or some shit.
Just jacking off for all the kid robots walking by. What
Yep.
what is the zoo for then? Is it AI robots, or do they just have one camera on you all the time to where then robots can watch you anytime? That's more what I would think. Maybe an interactive one where they can pilot little robots that roll out and shock you, with electricity nodes and shit like that.
Get to jerking.
Yeah, the little robot kids get to go. I want to fucking people, but it's all binary. And then they get to every time they see you start to masturbate or take a shit, they go out and they get the robots out and they shock you.
This is going to go over well on YouTube. All right, everybody. This has been the 13. I'm your host, Ryan 13. This has been Brandon Thomas and Ted Childers. Y'all have a great and safe Friday the 13th, and I'll see you all on the next one.
File's done.